Okay, so welcome everybody. This is Two Chapters Apart, and we are here with our first author series in our Summer of Swoon series. We are here with Emily Rex, a fellow Houstonian who writes sports romance. And so she is on her second book, and we are really excited to talk to her about that today. Emily, how are you doing?
Oh my gosh, I'm so good. I'm a little under the weather, so if you could hear it in my voice, that's why I sound like this, but hopefully it's not as bad as it sounds in my own ears.
No, it just makes you sound really cool, honestly. Like, I'm
Cool.
thinking like Brooke Davis from One Tree Hill, kind of like raspy. That's what it sounds like to me.
Nice. Like Phoebe on Friends when she thinks she can sing jazz blues because she has a cold. Have you seen that episode?
Yeah, I mean, it's fun. It works. So we're so excited to have you with us. You're our first author that we are doing this with, and so it's really fun. You're a Houstonian. I live in Houston. And so there's like a really fun kind of hometown connection here, which I found really fun in your books. So we're going to kind of jump right in. So you went from writing like a guinea pig saves the world chapter book in middle school to iambic pentameter poetry in high school. That is quite the range. So when did you know that romance was where you wanted to land?
Uh, Probably after college. I say like the guinea pig saving the world thing, I think, was heavily influenced by the movies Cat versus Dog. Do you remember those with like the animated talking
Yes.
cats and the cat
Yes.
was the bad guy? I think it was heavily inspired by that. I did recently reread that book and it will burn in hell with me. Nobody will ever see it because it's really, really terrible. I don't have any of the poetry in iambic pentameter that I wrote in high school, so I couldn't tell you if it was trash or not, but I'm sure it was about boys. Um, and then in college, I got an English degree with a minor in technical writing, and the only thing I knew I wanted to do was I didn't want to teach. And that's kind of the first
Mm.
thing they try and get you when you sign up to get an English degree. They're like, okay, well, this is the first class that teachers take. And I took that class and I was like, I can't read To Kill a Mockingbird every day for the next like 40 years of my life. So I have to find something else to do. So I was a technical writer, but after college, I kind of got back into reading. I dropped out of it a lot in college just because since when you get an English degree, all you do is read and you don't have any time to read for fun because you just have all of this boring reading to do. And so when I graduated, I asked for a Kindle for my graduation gift. And I kind of knew at that time, like, it was now or never to like get back into reading. And I wasn't even focused on ever writing a book. It more was like, I just need to like grow my passion for reading again and like rekindle that fire now that like I'm gonna be doing whatever full time for the rest of my life. And I didn't start writing Red Zone Realizations until 3 years ago. So it was 3 years from when I started writing it to when it came out last November. And really, I decided I was gonna write that book because a lot of times have you seen the saying that's like, if you think of a book that you wanna read and you can't find it to read, then you should be the one to write it? It would kinda ended up being
Mm.
like that. Because I read like 80 romance novels a year, and so many of them end in a happily ever after that is genre required, that is like pregnancy announcement, like all that kind of stuff. And I was like, as a child-free woman myself, like, why is that the requirement for this happily ever after? Like, when you think of happily ever after, why does it have to be connected to babies and children and like white picket fences and all of that kind of stuff? Like, it just doesn't, for not every woman is that true. And so I just kind of set out to write a book that felt like it represented me and what my idea of a happily ever after would be in a romance novel. And that's kind of how I got not only into romance, but into that book specifically. But I'm just a romance reader. I read, like, almost exclusively romance novels.
Yeah, so I am a big romance reader, and I brought Christine along with me on the romance journey because she was like pretty solidly in horror, mystery, thriller. Um, and so I brought her along on this journey with me. And one thing that really stuck out to me about your writing is that the way that you define a happily ever after is a happily ever after that doesn't include children because it doesn't have to. And that's something that resonates with me personally. I don't know, Christine, if you want
Same.
to speak to that for you, but
Yeah, I mean, same. I think that I was happy to see that kind of, like, representation in a romance book and really appreciate it, because I think, like you said, as I've gotten more into the romance genre, I see a lot of the same kind of happily ever afters, and so it's good to see that kind of representation.
Yeah. I'm curious because you say that you read, like, almost exclusively or maybe let me not put words in you read a lot of romance. I don't know if you read
Yeah.
exclusively romance, so
It's
it makes
close.
sense that that was, like, the genre that you went into, this idea
Yeah.
of writing
Yeah.
the book that you want to read. I'm curious, what have been some of your favorite romance books?
So my all-time favorite book is The Simple Wild by K.A. Tucker. I don't it's kinda older now, it's not, like, huge, but basically this girl is born in Alaska, and her mom leave Alaska when she's, like, 2, so she doesn't remember being there, she doesn't remember her dad, and now she's, like, 26, and she finds out that her dad is sick, and so she goes to support him and get to know him during this time, and she ends up in, like, this bickering relationship with a guy who works for her dad in Alaska flying bush planes, like the little planes that they take between cities in Alaska, and it's a romance between her, a city girl. It's kinda like Schitt's Creek where the girl's, like, really uppity and, like, kinda from a wealthy background, and he is kinda, like, down to earth and, like, hardworking, and he just thinks nothing of her because she's just a city girl, and, every time I read the book, it's the either the first book I read every year or the last book I read every year.
Wow.
So I
Mm.
read it every year, either as my first book of the year or my last book of the year, or just whenever I find myself in a reading slump, I pick it back up again, and I cry at the end every single time. I've read it like 4 or 5 times, and it gets me every single time.
Oh, I love
Aw. So, like, you have described your writing as, like, you wanna evoke, like, that feeling of, like, you can feel the emotion in the back of your throat. So, would is is this the type of book that you read that, like, inspired you to write that kind of story?
Yeah, that's definitely one of them. It's very, like and I'm, like, a smut lover too, like, don't get me wrong, like, I would say, like, I read romance novels like The Simple Wild where I think there's, like, one gratuitous sexy scene, and it's, like, 70% of the way through the book, and, like, just the banter between the characters and the emotion between her and her dad, and, like, all of this, like, being in such a specific setting in small town Alaska, like, takes you through this novel, and then the payoff of, like, when they finally get to it is, like, so like, specific and good, but, like, I also read a ton of monster romance. So it's like, these are very 2, like, not the same things, you know what I mean? Like, it
That's
was very much
okay. That
different.
just means that you contain multitude.
I know. I have an English degree, I've done my time, I've read Little Women, I took a Shakespeare class in college, and I decided after that I was gonna read romance novels and monster smut, and that's it. Like, and I stand by that decision.
Okay, so I'm obsessed with that. We have to know, what is your recommended monster smut novel?
If you've never dipped your toes at all, you have to start with Ice Planet Barbarians. You
Okay.
have to start at Ice Planet Barbarians. There's like 20 books in the series, but you really only need to read like the first 5 or 6. There's like an original group of girls that are together, and so you really only need to read their books, but like I flew through like 5 of them, and then I gave them to my mom and she loved them.
Oh my
But
gosh.
after that, if you're looking for something else, I think the first book is called Married to the Alien Cowboy by Ursa Dax, and it's basically like arranged alien marriages, like, kind of like mail order bride style, like, all of the men are aliens and they live on this planet and they get to sign up for, like, this bride program through, like, the government of this planet, and so they bring in these human women, and all the human women have a reason for going, like, they're running away from a failed marriage, or they're running away from debt, or something that pushes them into this situation, and they show up on this planet to live with, like they're basically like ranchers, like, they each get a plot of land, and then they raise, like, alien cows on them, so it's like they're alien, but it also is like a cowboy romance, and there's, like, 6 of them, and they're so good.
Okay, I love that. I'm gonna have to, like, add that to the list.
For sure.
They're incredible. They're like popcorn, like, you can't stop.
Oh my gosh. Um, so how do you think, you're reading so much romance, do you keep that, like, reading life separate from your writing brain, or do you try not to? I can imagine I don't know, every time I think about, like, "Oh, it'd be cool to write a book," I'd be like, "How am I not using ideas that have already been done before?" And I feel like if you're reading so much, it might even
Yeah.
inevitably start to affect how
Well,
you're
that's
writing.
the thing about romance is like there really are, I would hate to say, there's like no original ideas anymore. And like even if I like my second book is college best friends to lovers, fake dating, mutual pining. If you gave me those tropes and said write a book, and then I gave you those tropes and said write a book, we would not end up with the same book at all. You know what I mean? Like everybody has a voice, everybody has like a lived experience, and everybody brings that to their writing. So I do read, I would say less or like more slowly when I'm drafting a book, like from scratch, just because it's so much brain power. But I never give up on the writing because the beats of other romance authors' books is what helped me find the beats of my own novel. I read so many that I can be like, I'm like 40,000 words into the book I'm writing right now, and I'm like, "Okay, I need them to do XYZ, because at this point in the book, they should be doing this, or I should have already made them think about their feelings, or I should have already made them this, or now they should be close to, like, kissing for the first time," or, like, it just brings you along on the beats. But I do find that sometimes if I go straight from, like, reading to writing, I might accidentally suck up somebody else's tone of their words, and then I have to reread some of my own words to bring my own, like, tone back before I accidentally slip into somebody else's a little.
Yeah. I'm curious, so you talk about, like, the demands of writing, but your Red Zone Realizations came out, your first book, and then Love on the Block, your latest one, came out 6 months later, if I'm doing that right? That's, like, super fast turnaround, so I'm curious,
Yeah.
like, how did you sustain the momentum between those books? Like, what did it feel writing your second book compared to writing your first one?
The first book was hard because it's very much like a more emotional, stand up for yourself, set your boundaries, live your own life, be your own ideals, and at the time that I wrote it, it was something that wasn't super easy to me anyway. It was almost like a defensive novel. It was like me building myself up in this book as a child-free woman who is now married, and I just turned 30 last year, so it's people are starting to be like, "Oh, wait, they were serious, like, about not having kids." Like, we've been telling people for years that we didn't want to, but everybody, "Oh, you'll change your mind. Oh, you'll whatever. You're not old enough yet." Like, this and that or whatever, but I think people are now finally starting to realize that we were serious about it the whole time. But so that one took me a long time to write, and it was my first one. I was doing a lot of stuff I didn't know how to do on that one. The second one was a much quicker turnaround, not only because I had the experience of writing and putting out the first book, but the first book wasn't out when I wrote the second book. So there was really not that much marketing to do because there was no book. So there wasn't, you know what I mean? So I wrote it really fast. It wrote very easily. It's very fun. It's very like giggling, kicking your feet, like romance. And then when it came back from copy edits, it was crazy clean. I think I added, like, 2 scenes and the whole thing was good to go after I fixed all of my misplaced commas, like, it was just very quick, and volleyball season is January to May, and so I did not want to miss volleyball season with a professional women's volleyball book, which is why I pushed it probably harder than I would have otherwise if there wasn't that timeline on it. And to be very honest with you guys, I won't do that to myself again because that was stress.
Yeah. Um,
Mm,
so
hold on real quick.
yeah, go ahead.
I didn't even think about, like, from a PR perspective, aligning when you wanted to push the book with the season of the sport that your, FMC was playing.
Yeah.
That, like, kind of was blowing my mind for a minute because I was like, "Wow, you really have to think about all of these things about how to market your story and align it to what makes sense for the book." So I just
Yeah.
had a
I
little moment of realization.
I emailed the professional women's volleyball teams in Texas. We have Houston has one, Dallas has one, San Antonio has one. I emailed all of them multiple times, and I tried to call and be like, "Can I have my book launch at one of your volleyball games?"
Mhm.
But none of them ever called me back.
Oh,
Boo.
God.
They probably plan all of that stuff before the season even starts,
Yeah.
and I was, like, not even close to being sure that this was gonna be done,
Yeah.
when the season started, so I probably was just a little behind the ball on that one, but it would've been crazy.
Did
Yeah, that's a really cool thought.
did you watch a lot of professional women's volleyball while writing this book? Like old
Yeah, I did, and, I've been to 2 games. I went to 2 games this season, which was super cool to see in person. What's crazy, I don't know if you were gonna ask about the second one, it's the one that just came out, but, it's inspired by the actual history of professional women's volleyball in the States. So, we had it for 2 years and 2 years only in the '80s, but, like, Turkey, Italy, Korea has had it every year since the end of World War II. So, up until 3 years ago, if you wanted to play professional women's volleyball, you had to leave the country and live in a foreign country because you couldn't play here. And so, the book picks up 3 years ago. They meet in college, they become friends, they go their separate ways to play their professional sports. She lived in Italy and plays professional volleyball 5 years, and at the beginning of this book, she's coming home for the first time to Houston to play in the inaugural season of the brand new Women's American Volleyball League, and this actually happened 3 years ago. There were women who came home for the first time to play professional volleyball as Americans on American soil 3 years ago, and now you have teams made up of international giants, people who are fresh out of college. There's 2 girls from the Texas A&M won the NCAA Women's College Volleyball Championship in December last year, and there's 2 of those players who started their professional career in January on the Houston women's volleyball team a month later.
I'm gonna have to
Olympians,
get a ticket.
USAA, All-Americans, conference winners, Olympic gold medalists, you name it, are on these volleyball teams right now.
So, did US women's professional volleyball just become my whole personality? Because that's what I'm sensing from this. 'Cause there's so much of that that I did not know. I learned so much right now.
Yeah, it's crazy how little people, I think people really only know 2 things. They know Olympic volleyball and they know the beach volleyball uniforms, the bikinis, and that's it.
Yeah.
And it's so much more than that.
So you're talking a little bit about kind of like PR, thinking about when to release a book. So as you're writing these books, you're building a platform on social media. How do you think about connecting with readers online? Obviously, that's become a huge part, I think, of being an author, it seems like. Were you surprised by that or?
No, because I feel like, well, I'm the year, like, between millennials and Gen Z. So I grew up with computers,
Yeah.
but so I knew social media was gonna be important, and I think if you even look towards traditional publishing these days, they want you to have some kind of a platform already. So I knew that no matter what I wanted to do in the future, I had to build something, but also I've been on social media like my whole life. I'm 30, like I'm a staunch youngest millennial. So it was very natural to come on here. Before I had my author stuff online, I had a book YouTube channel. So I was very comfortable like talking to the camera and like posting online and taking thumbnail photos and being in public with my phone out and stuff like that. So it didn't come like super hard. And I'm a very open book person. Like I always tell people, like, don't ask me a stupid question because I'll give you the answer and you might not like the answer, but, like, I'm so honest that, like, if you don't like it, I can't help myself. But, so I try and keep that very straightforward on social media too and show, like, my true personality and stuff, but I'm fighting the optics of the algorithm all the time, and it's very annoying. I can't show my face in my trial reels or I will get 70% men viewers on my trial reels. I can't even show this much of my face. I can't, like, a t-shirt on, looking ugly, no makeup, just my glasses. You can only see, like, this much of my face and still 70% men. And so then it's like, okay, now I have to find ways to tweak things and, like, walk it back because obviously you guys are not my ideal reader. You're not, like, pounding a Kindle Unlimited book every 3 days. So, it's a tough joint between showing up authentically and having to battle the algorithm all the time.
Yeah. Also, men ruin everything.
100%. 100%. and I can't figure out how to get rid of them. My best ones are like 60% women and 40% men. And I was talking to my other author friend on Sunday, and she was like, "Mine are like 90% women." And I'm like, "What did I do wrong?" And she's like, "My PA who helps me is blonde, and when she posts, it's all men. And so it might be being blonde that makes it so overwhelmingly men." She's like, "Buy a wig and see and see if that scares the menfolk away."
What
I'm heavily considering it.
that is, yeah,
That is
interesting.
wild.
Yeah,
And also I
It's
get it.
so weird.
yeah. So you say your books have three things: emotion, tension, well, a lot of things, but are grounded in emotion, tension, and unforgettable characters. Do you start, I mean, it sounds like in, not to put words in your mouth, it sounds like in the first book, like there was something you wanted to see that you didn't see out there, and that's what you started with. Um, but do you usually start with like a situation, or is it a character you see in your mind, or is it a feeling you want to get across on the page? Like, what is your grounding point or your starting point?
I guess it's characters because the first book kind of started with me as the female main character. And then Hot Yoga Guy was a real person in real life who went to the yoga studio that I went to when I lived in the Heights. When I lived downtown, I went to a yoga studio 3 days a week, and there was a guy there, and I called him Hot Yoga Guy in my head. Yes, I'm married. It doesn't matter. I called him Hot Yoga Guy in my head, and I just referred to him. I don't know his. I never talked to him. I never spoke to him. I And he was the inspiration of like, why can't you meet an NFL player at a hot yoga class? Why not? So I
Oh,
guess
yeah.
characters built first. The second book, I knew I wanted to write a professional women's volleyball romance. So I needed to figure out how to get a pro volleyball player and a pro football player together. And my husband is from Wisconsin. And so we've been together 11 years. So I've been visiting Wisconsin for 11 years, and I have been taking notes of all the little special things that makes Wisconsin Wisconsin. And I put a lot of them into that book. Uh, and the town that Wyatt is from is based off of the very small town that my husband's family is from. And a lot of the things that happen when they visit at the towards the end of that book are things that I actually experienced in this small town. So I guess characters came first, and I knew I wanted him to be like a classic Wisconsin boy, and then I knew I wanted her to be a professional volleyball player. And the other thing about that is she has to be tall because the shortest girl on a professional women's volleyball team is like 5'10". So your tallest girl is like 6'3" or 6'4", and so Nash is 6'1", and I just wanted to represent the tall girls. I was so tired of reading the Allie Hazelwood of it all, like such a small girl, he's so much bigger than me, and I'm so small, he could fit me in his pocket, and I was like, I'm so sick of that. Like, I'm not even a tall girl, I'm 5'6", but like, I just wanted to represent the tall girls out there. Like, you're out there, you're a professional athlete, you gotta find your place at your size and just own it.
Yeah. I love that. Because, oh, yes, when I read these books and they're like, I put on my partner's t-shirt and it's like to the floor, it's so big on me. And I'm like, if I put on my partner's t-shirt, it's like a snug fit. Like, so appreciate that representation.
I got you.
Um, so your website describes your work as romance with a feminist twist. And I know that we've talked a little bit about what that means, but how is it that you really put that into practice in your work? How does it
I
show
think
up on the page beyond just wanting to write the ending that you felt real for your life?
so the first book, she's child free, and the people can say what they want about feminism. Oh, it's lonely cat ladies. Oh, it's like not shaving your armpits, like all that kind of whatever stuff. But the basis that feminism is built on is choice. Having a choice to do what you want, having those choices available to you and making your decision. So the first book, she's child free by choice. She doesn't shy away from that decision ever in that book. Um, I've read books where they say they're not really sure about kids, and then later on they're pregnant or whatever, and it's like, why do that? Why just not say anything at all about it? The second book is based on like the Caitlin Clark, the Angel Reese of it all. everyone watches women's sports, new women, PWHL, Hockey League, the women absolutely sweeping shit in the Olympics, only to be laughed at by the men's team. Like all of that stuff. It's just like the perfect storm time to write a romance where the female main character is her sport. There's no football in that book at all. Um, I can tell you the third book, or the book I'm writing now, I don't know what order they will come out in. So you've read the first one. I based Nicole, Audrey's best friend, in off of my real life best friend. I was like, I need a best friend character and I don't want to make one and have to keep everything straight for this character. So I'm just going to write in my best friend. I had no intentions of ever writing her a book. But after people started reading Red Zone Realizations, they started asking me when Nicole was going to get a book.
Mm.
And
Because Nicole
so,
does deserve a book.
Yeah.
Nicole deserves a book.
Yeah.
Nicole in real life is 100% the way I wrote her. She doesn't like mint. She doesn't like ketchup. She drinks a ton of Diet Dr. Pepper, like constantly. She gets her drinks with no ice. Like she just like she's a actual character like in real life. Like I don't even like all of these like quirks that people have to make up for their characters. She just exists with all of them. And it's just like it was so easy. And she's curvy and she's beautiful and she's smart and she's type A and we've been friends since we were in kindergarten. And so uh, I decided I was gonna give in and write her a book. And her feminist is also based on her real life. The feminist twist is based on her real life. She owns her own house. She's not married. She has no kids. She has 2 dogs, and she bought a house before my husband and I bought a house together. So she just has been, like, girl bossing it. She's about to go back to school, to get a higher education and make more money. She has plans to have a baby on her own by 35 if there's no man in the picture, and so it very much is just like, "I have all of this. What can a man offer me? What does a
Mhm.
man bring to the table that does not disturb the peace that I've created for myself?" So that is what the basis of that book is. And when I decided I was gonna write it, I literally called her on the phone and I was like, I need you to meet me at like a restaurant and I will buy you lunch, but I need to ask you like several questions because I kept when I wrote the first book, she was a NICU nurse. She's not right now, but she was in real life a NICU nurse. And I don't know anything about being a NICU nurse. So we sat down for lunch and I was like, okay, so you pull up to the hospital, you park your car, you get out of your car. Tell me your entire day, minute by minute, the second you get out of your car to the second you get back in your car. Because I don't know anything about being a nurse. I don't know anything about babies. I don't know anything about hospitals. I don't know anything about healthcare. I need you like have like voice recordings of her explaining things to me.
So cool. Also, Caitlin, I I would never try to write a book of you. That's like feels like really hard. I don't know. Like
You don't want to put my quirks in writing?
I don't know. Uh
I did change some things. She's obsessed with Diet Dr. Pepper. I made it Diet Coke just because it's more commercially fun, and kind of like a stereotype like Diet Coke
yeah.
girlies. So I did
Yeah.
change that. She has a few tattoos in real life, but I gave her a full sleeve in the book, so I changed that. I kept her curviness. I asked her what she wanted her man to look like, and she told me, so that's what I based it on.
I love that.
Um,
Oh my god.
like I let her have like full range. The dogs are based on her dogs in real life. And I have art made for the animals. There's animals in every book. So my first one has guinea pigs and I have stickers. Actually, I think I have them. I have stickers made of the guinea pigs. And so I told her that if she lets me use the dogs and she lets me bum all her knowledge, I will have my cover artist make her dogs like cartoons. So these are the guinea pigs.
Yeah.
Gosh, so
And so I kept her real dogs in the book. They're her real dogs with their real name. And so she will get a sticker like this with her 2 dogs with their real names on them. And I will gift her the artwork and everything as a thank you for helping me with the book. So that's gonna be really fun. So there's a lot of stuff that I kept. There's a lot of stuff that I didn't keep. There's a lot of stuff I made up. But for the most part, the basis is type A girl, um, class clown boy.
nice.
I'm excited for that. That's gonna
Yeah.
be really fun. Um, like, we've talked a little bit about how the traditional happily ever after is typically, like spring, marriage, kids, and you were actively writing against that archetype. And it seems like you're kind of capturing that in a different way in each of your books. And so when you're thinking about that, like, what do you think a modern happily ever after should look like?
That's the thing though, is like feminism is all about the choice. Like if you want to have a husband who provides for you and you stay home and make sourdough bread and try wife it up, girl, go for it. That's your choice, my man. But if you want to be girl boss, you're high up at a big accounting firm and you make tons of money and your husband stays at home with the kids, girl boss it up, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's your choice. And the most important thing is that we all have these choices. Our grandmothers did not have these choices. They could not get their own bank account, they could not get their own credit card, they could not have their name only on a piece of land. Like, this is the time to do anything you want to do as a woman that our grandmothers couldn't do, and to fight and keep our rights. And we can't allow things to roll backwards in like general in the country. And so I don't want to get like heavy in politics, but I am a
Also,
crazy
you can.
feminist. So
Yeah.
We're
I'm a
aligned.
crazy feminist and I'm in Texas. So I am a blue dot in a red state.
Yeah.
I
Highlander.
feel that so deeply. Christine knows that I feel that so deeply. And before I was in Texas, I was in Mississippi. And so it was the
Oh
same
man.
the same situation there. Step up here, I'm in Houston, so at least like locally within the city, I'm surrounded by like-minded folks. But let me get off that soapbox because that will take this whole
We'll be here all
conversation
night.
in a completely different direction. Um, but I want to focus a little bit on uh Love on the Block. And so in Love on the Block, you very explicitly made a choice to center her sport, her career as a female athlete. And the book's stakes are like explicitly about whether she gets to keep doing what she loves.
Hmm.
And so, how do you think about centering a female character's ambition and career within a romance story rather than treating it like an obstacle to her love story?
That's y'all are coming at me because that's a tough question. Um y'all really said I'm doing my homework today. Um I don't even know how to explain it. Like I just am such a strong-headed, bullheaded, strong-willed person. Like my husband will tell you, my mom will tell you. I never even blinked at the thought of being like, I'm gonna make this book about her. I'm gonna make this book about her sport. I'm not gonna give the guys like I think the most they do is like work out together. Like that's it. There is so little acknowledgement of football. There's an acknowledgement of the popularity that the NFL has and conversations about why is it taking women's sports so long to get that same recognition. I think at one point she even says, is it because volleyball is not a contact sport? Like, is it all about the physical contact, like in hockey and the NFL and the pushing and shoving in the NBA? But then you have the MLB, that's not a contact sport. They never even really get that close to each other. So it's like, what is it about these men's sports that make them so popular, and why can't women get those pieces that they deserve, that attention that they deserve? And she's just a girl with a plan, and she is willing to use her best friend, her man, to get what she wants, and I respect that.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry. Gotta
And he's so
comment.
whipped he goes along with it, to be honest.
And you want to know what? That's because he recognizes her power. And I love that. I think it's really empowering to see. This is going to sound so crazy, but it is really empowering to see a woman centered in her own romance story. Because I feel like often when I have read romance, even though like I still gobble them up, okay? Like I love a romance novel, but often I don't feel like the woman is centered in her own story. And so
Yeah.
I think when we're kind of like flipping the script on that, I think that that is really powerful.
Thank you. That's
Yeah.
nice. I
Um
just love volleyball, and I think it comes across in the gameplay. I play on a rec league, 6 on
Oh,
6
okay,
co-ed.
that's cool.
So, I only played 1 year in high school. And that's the other thing is this is so deep into the lore of me personally. I played 1 year of volleyball in high school, and the bullying on the team was so bad that I quit after my freshman year of high school, and I didn't play volleyball again until I played rec in college. And then after that, I didn't play volleyball again for, like, 4 years until we settled into the suburbs and I found a local league to play on. And now I have had a team consistently back to back to back seasons, every seasons for 3 years. And, I was looking for conflict in the book, and I refused to make it between the girls on the volleyball team because I did not want to perpetuate the stereotype of
Love
girls
that.
like nipping at each other and having like negative views of each other or gossiping about each other or bullying each other. I didn't want to have that be the conflict in the book. So I just didn't. I worked around it, even though it a lot of people were like, "Well, it's the low hanging fruit, obviously," but I didn't want it to be that because I didn't want it to be reflective of my own shitty version of a volleyball team. So
Yeah. It's I love to hear that you were really intentional about, thinking through that. It brought to mind I've watched Off Campus recently, like, sports
yeah,
romance in general is
yeah,
really having a moment,
it
and I
is.
watched Off Campus. I've been watching a lot of, interviews actually with the writer for that show. So, I'm
Okay,
actually most interested in what was happening in the writer's room, and I love that it was full of, like, millennial and Gen Z women who are writing the show because it comes across as, like, men written by women, which is my favorite kind of
yeah,
man, to be
exactly.
clear. Um, and that was something that they were talking about very specifically, is they didn't wanna create competition between women because, 1, it doesn't have to be like that, and often I feel like that's not actually how it plays out in reality. But since, like, sports is having such a huge moment right now, what is it that, like, drew you to that world specifically?
I have a love for sports. I'm a highly competitive person. I played sports in school. I played volleyball only 1 year, but I played basketball 2 years. And then my parents were very down to earth people. So after my sophomore year, I had the ability to take dual credit classes where I was taking college classes in high school and getting college credit for them. And my freshman year of basketball, I had a concussion. And my sophomore year, I sprained my ankle really bad. And my parents kind of were like, you can't do the heavy academics and play sports. So you kind of have to pick one. And basketball is not going to take you to college. So I kind of feel like there's maybe an alternate world where I played like club volleyball and was good, but I'm only 5'6", so I'm really not tall enough to like really go anywhere. But like there's another world where it was me and I was really good. And so I just kind of part of me is living vicariously through Nash. She's 6'1", she's a great player, she's strong willed, she's competitive, she's good at it. Like part of me just wishes I was her. And so I kind of self-inserted like maybe my best life, like, in the Nash a little bit, but, um, it came with the competition. The sports comes with the competition. We watch every single football game on TV. College, Monday night football, Thursday night football, Sunday all day football. And at first I was like a casual fan, but then when I met my husband, he's like a super fan. And so I started watching. I started paying attention. We go to a Packers game every year. And when I wrote that book, and I gave it to Nick, he read it and his review was, "You know way more about football than I thought you did." So I am just a sponge, an intellectual, sports-minded sponge. I just suck it all up.
I love that.
Yeah. So, fun fact about Christine Christine is also a big sports fan, specifically basketball. Basketball is
Oh,
her
okay.
sport. Do not come at Christine with anything negative to say about the Memphis Grizzlies because she will
Oh,
end you.
Memphis Grizzlies.
Yeah.
I was like,
That
"Does
is like
Chicago have
her
a
team.
basketball team?"
But yeah, no, I'm just visiting Chicago. I live in DC, but I grew up outside of Memphis, so
Okay.
Memphis Grizzlies is my team. And I will say it was funny because Caitlin texted me the other day, like, "Who are we rooting for in the NBA finals?" And I was like, "I've got opinions. Let me send you a voice memo because I've got lots of opinions."
I hope you have time.
Yeah, exactly. I can relate to that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I opened up the voice memo and it was like bitch, sit down and buckle up because
Yeah.
the podcast is incoming.
Yeah.
And so for all of those who are interested, we are rooting for the Spurs.
Yeah.
Good for
So,
you. San Antonio, let's go, Texas. Um,
uh,
yeah, I feel like it's like that. I very am like, I love to get into it. I'm an Aaron Rodgers hater. Like to my if Aaron Rodgers has no haters left, then I'm dead. Like that's how much I hate Aaron Rodgers. But like I love being in it. I love talking about trades. I love reading the memes. I love sharing the memes with my husband. And I have one of my really good friends and boyfriend is a huge Dallas Cowboys fan. And he also is football obsessed, like watches every game. So we just like shoot videos back and forth, shoot memes. I just like to be included in things. And that's really where my beginning of love for football started was my husband was so into it and I just like to be included. It's the same reason I started playing Fortnite. It's the same reason I started playing Call of Duty. It's the same reason I started playing Elden Ring. Like it's just I just like to be included in what everybody's doing and I like to know it and I like to be able to have a conversation about it. And so then I just kind of get sucked into stuff and now I wrote a romance novel about it. So I
I
think that's
love
a
that.
uniquely author brain to be like, oh, I know a couple things about this. Now I'm obsessed with it. And there's a book.
Yeah. Um, so when in your world of sports that you have created, Houston is the home base. And so how has living in Houston shaped your writing?
Like I said, I'm a blue dot in a red state. So it's kind of there's a little bit I try to walk the line between the reality of living in Texas and a fictionalized version of an idealized version of Texas. And it's very hard to do because when I was a kid, we would have Go Texan Day and stuff. And I think I mentioned this in one of the two books. And I used to be so proud to be a Texan. And as I got older and as I got more educated and I finished college and I started voting, I am a leech on the local elections. Okay. I vote in like every local election because I know that's what it takes to really make change. And I don't want anybody to be able to say to me, oh, you're a blue dot in Texas and you don't vote in your local elections, so you don't really care, or you're not really going to do anything. You're not going to make a difference. But it's the local elections that build up to the bigger seats and stuff like that. So I don't let any of those opportunities go by because I don't want anybody to be able to say to me, you didn't pull your weight or anything like that. I literally was looking at poll worker volunteer hours like 3 weeks ago
Mm.
because I was like, I'm not going to let anybody get up in here. And like, if we flip any of these seats, I'm not going to let them accuse us
Which
of
we
cheating.
will. We will.
Pearland just elected a Democratic mayor.
Crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm not saying I get hopeful every time and then I get crushed every time because there's such a stronghold here in Texas of the red side. But like it's really not even specifically uh political because when you're raised here you see such a different side of Texas. People who are friendly on the streets. I wrote the hurricane scene in Love on the Block is based off of my real life experience of Hurricane Harvey. I was not living in the city during Hurricane Harvey, but my parents still were. And my husband and I came down. We were in college. We came down to help out because when your house floods, you only have a certain amount of time to get all of that out of the house before it starts molding. So it was like all hands on deck. And in a city of 7 million people, where like 70% of certain neighborhoods flooded to get all of this out. So we came down to help out and we were walking my dog, my mom and I, and somebody pulled up to us and they had a big bag of like Chick-fil-A sandwiches and they said, "Have you guys eaten?" And we said, "Yes, we have." And she's like, "I have all of this food. I've been trying to find people to feed. Do you know where anybody is that hasn't eaten?" And we were like, "We just came from like the backside. If you want to go check that direction, there were some people outside. Maybe they haven't eaten." And so it's just like it's the duality really of the city and the state of like what you read about on the news, like when you go other places and they're like, "Do you ride horses to school?" And it's like, I live in a city of 7 million people. No, I don't ride horses to school. But have I seen people riding horses on the sides of highways? Yes. Like it's just, you know what I mean? Like it's so hard to explain to people. And Houston has the biggest melting pot of cultures and the friendliest people and hardworking people and a relatively low cost of living city where a lot of places aren't like that still, but it's the people that make it. And that was kind of the point I was trying to make with the hurricane scene and them going to help out and bringing all the teams together to do it. was just the resilience of a city like this. And in a time like that, it was based specifically on Hurricane Harvey.
Well, two final questions that we asked or we're going to ask all our guests on the Summer Swoon series is first, what are your favorite tropes in romance, either to write or to read?
Uh, does monster romance count as a trope? Okay, you want to hear? Have
Genre?
you ever heard that thing where it's like, "Do you want to hear a real answer, Joey?" And it's like my microtrope favorite. I'm a huge Hades and Persephone's retelling fan.
Okay.
And so within that, there's often this microtrope of like bathing chambers, like huge, like Roman inspired, like baths where like characters end up somehow together in the bath. And like there's all this tension of them being together in the bath. So I guess my go-to, if I can't break a reading slump or something, I'll try a new Hades and Persephone's romance or a new monster romance. And then a micro trope is the bathhouse, which is like nobody asked, but that's what I like.
I love it. I don't think I've read a bathhouse scene in a
I
romance.
haven't either, but now I want to.
Yeah.
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 I'm gonna have to like dig back and like go through some books because I know I've read a couple of them, but like I couldn't tell you which ones they were off the top of my head. I'm gonna have to like deep dive into the books I've already read and like make sure they're which ones they're in. Maybe I'll like make up a post about it or something.
Would love a recommendation. And then finally, kind of along the same lines, I know we asked you earlier about some of your inspiration, but what do you recommend those watching right now to add to their TBR? Like, what's something besides your books, of course, which are Reds and Realizations and Love on the Block? Besides those two, what books would you highly recommend?
So my friend Mace Evans is another local Houston author. She has I think it's a trilogy, and then it has a prequel novel or novella, and that is like romanticy and has dragons in it. But later this year, she's putting out her first contemporary romance, and it has like I've seen the cover. It's live on her Instagram if you guys want to look, but it has like to me Gilmore Girls vibes on the cover, and it's very like fall, bookish, cutesy, cozy vibes. And so that's definitely something I'm, like, super looking forward to reading.
I love that.
Amazing.
You can't talk
I
about
was
fall
begging
weather
her to
right
let me
now.
beta
We're like
read.
headed into summer weather. I'm like, I want fall weather.
I know. And when it's here, I'm like, I miss the sunshine." And then when the sunshine is here and Texas is still preheating,
Yeah.
it will get hotter than this,
Oh, yeah.
um,
Yeah.
and I will miss it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, Texas is just getting started.
Oh, yeah. It's gonna be across the board. It's gonna be a horrible summer in this in this country. But cool. Well, we will definitely look out for that one and her past ones. You know, we love some dragons sometimes. That's fun.
Absolutely.
Cool. Well, this has been great. We have loved talking with you. I feel like we learned so much about bathhouse romance tropes and your inspiration for your books. And yeah, personally, I'd say, like, I just want to say that your books, like we've talked about, are so offer a different look at what a happily ever after can be, and are really powerful and like women's careers. It's something I think I feel really personally about, like, yeah, about centering my career and how that affects, you know, how people view things and stuff. So anyway, I'm not saying this eloquently, but I really appreciate your representation in your books.
I appreciate you guys being readers. It's so nice to connect with people. I've made so many friends since I put the book out. People who come up to me and say, "Oh, I bought your book last time I saw you at this market or that market," or people DM me. And some of my friends who were my friends before I started writing, I posted a video of a swimmer on my Instagram stories, like a guy in the water swimming. And I was like, should I write a swimmer's romance? And one of my friends responded to my story and was like, "Emily, don't tease me." And I was like, wait. I was joking. I was joking.
Also, you shouldn't joke.
But
And if you end up
also,
writing a swimmer's book, I was a competitive swimmer like from when I was 10 until I was 18. So if you want to know what those swim meets are like, I can let
I'm
you know.
gonna I'm gonna have to if I ever do, I will have to have you be what do they call it? A sensitivity reader for swimming because I hated swimming. My parents made us swim. We had a boat when I was a kid. We fished a lot, not a crazy nice boat, but like we fished a lot. And so my parents made us take swimming lessons and made us swim on the neighborhood swim team until we were 12 in case we fell out of the boat and they could guarantee we knew how to
Makes sense.
swim. And my brother loved it and he swam all the way through high school. And I hated it so much. I used to hide in the bathroom during warm-ups because I didn't want to get my swimsuit wet at like 6:30 in the morning and then sit in a wet swimsuit for the rest of the day. And the second they told me I could quit at 12, I quit that shit. I hated swimming.
That is hilarious.
I hated it.
Just a couple weeks ago, finished reading a book about a teenage girl who's a competitive swimmer, like in high school, and it's a horror book. So that's that's the only
That's
I
my
need
lived
you to bring a
experience.
different perspective, bring a more happily ever after to the competitive swim story than the horror books that are out there right now.
Yeah, that's so crazy. Yeah, it was my actual own personal horror story. So, waking up early on a Saturday, being wet all day, my personal horror story, 100%.
Waking up early on Saturday. Yeah, that resonates. Mm-mm. Cool. Well, thank you so much, Emily. And yeah, it's been just a joy to talk to you and hang out with you.
Yeah,
If you ever need me again, I am just a quick DM away.
Well, thank you. And
absolutely.
I can't wait for your next book. We cannot wait to read it.
Probably next year. I don't think I'm gonna make it.
You need a little break after.
I
Yeah.
don't think I'm gonna make it this year. Apparently, it's hard to put out a book in December. Sorry, my dog is barking her head off. But it's hard to put a book out in December because everybody wants holiday romance.
Mhm.
So you either have to be before December, which is November, which it's already June, and this book is not even a completed first draft, or it would have to be like January of 2027. So that's probably what we're leaning towards for the next book. But I am going to be working on a secret project because I'm going to DFW Con later this year, and there will be literary agents there. And I don't have any intentions of querying anything that has to do with Houston Hurricanes because no agent would touch it with a 10-foot pole because it's half done already. But I do have plans on writing a secret book to take with me to DFW Con to see if I can't get an agent for it. And of course, if it doesn't go my way on anything like that, I will just self-publish it. So
Yeah,
secret things.
love that. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I'm so excited to hear this. Would it be romance still?
It will be romance.
Okay.
It will be romance. It won't be, it's not sports romance though, right now. It's not a sports romance. I actually don't have that many other sports romance ideas outside of Houston Hurricanes. Like all the other book ideas I have written down in my notebook are not sports romance novels.
Okay.
So I might be going somewhere else after that, but hopefully everybody will be along for the ride because to be honest, I could not handle having another pen name and running 2 social medias and 2 websites and 2 amounts of posting and 2 everything. I don't think I could do it.
Yeah. No. No.
That seems like way more work than what I'm willing to take on.
Well, we're along for the ride,
Yes,
whatever it is.
we are.
Well,
Even
I
if it's
love that. At
monster
least
hot.
they will have 2 readers, if nothing. If I come out of the gate swinging wildly with a new genre, like a subgenre of romance, at least I will have 2 readers and my mom.
Oh no.
So that's 3.
Oh,
So that's 3. I mean, how many more do you really need?
your husband, right? Would that make
My husband. He's a little behind. He hasn't read Love on the Block yet. He's actually reading well, we're like 80% of the way through Dungeon Crawler Carl. And
Don't even get Christine started. Oh, now you got her. You got her.
one book 7? Yeah.
oh my god. I am just having a little bit of a hard time with like the page long descriptions of like monsters. I'm like, why it's giving J.R.R. Tolkien describing trees for whole paragraphs. Like that's what it's giving. And I'm having a hard time dragging myself through that. But I have other friends like you who are much further in the series, and they're like, Emily, you just need to smash the last 20% of this book and keep going because it gets so much more like pointed. And I'm a huge like ironically anti-capitalist girly, so it's like I'm like going up my alley, I think. But also I just it's like 7 books is a really long time to get there.
Oh, yeah, and they're like 800 pages. No, it's a lot, but
And they're
I
so
will say
long.
my eyes kinda like skim over some of the monster descriptions, I'm gonna be
Yeah.
totally honest, just like
Yeah.
800
Well,
pages of it gets a lot.
if I was doing it by myself, I probably would do the same, but my husband and I are reading it together. It's our, like, joint book. I'm reading books by myself. He's reading, The Lord of the Rings on
Nice.
his own time, and then our joint book is, Dungeon Crawler Carl, and he has to read with the audiobook going and the book in his hand. He calls it guided reading.
That's
And he can only read, like he calls it a gentleman's 2. He can only read, like, 2 chapters at a time before he, like, gets bored, and he has to move on to
The
something else, so
gentleman's
we
too.
read a gentleman's 2 chapters, like, a night, and it's like a 400 or 500-page book, so it's like we've been reading the same book forever, but he can love books, you just have to get him in the right genre. The last one we read before this, we read all of the Murderbot Diaries. I don't know if you've read.
yes, we're in a sci-fi book club
So
together.
good.
Yeah.
So good. I love the Murderbot Diaries. I wasn't super impressed by the Apple TV show. I don't know if
I
you've
haven't
seen
seen
that.
it. I haven't seen
Oh,
It
I
was
did see it. I
okay.
thought the books are better.
The books are way better, and he has so much more, like, personality and, like, spunk in the books. But and then the one before that was Project Hail Mary, which we both read and loved. I read it, and then I read it with him, and then I convinced his dad to read it, and then I convinced my mom to read it, and then he read it a second time on his own before the movie just came out,
Yeah,
and then we went to see the movie, the Saturday it had just come out with his family, and then my other friend was interested in seeing it, so we went a second time to the theater to see it in theaters.
I love it. I
So
mean,
we're obsessed.
yeah, I feel
That's
like that
crazy.
book is, like, a great like, I feel like if even for people who don't, like, read sci-fi typically, like, it's a good
It's a good, like,
Exactly.
entry level
yeah,
Yeah.
sci-fi
It's a
book.
crowd pleaser. It's a
crowd
crowd
Well,
pleaser.
it's funny that you mentioned those books. So Christine and I are in a sci-fi book club with her dad, and those are all books that we have read in our sci-fi book club with her dad.
Yeah,
Oh my god, I love that. My
yeah.
dad is not a reader, but my husband's dad is a reader. And he is a very big supporter of, like, my book stuff, and,
Wait, no, does
he's
he
read
read
all
your
my
books,
books.
though?
Yeah. Oh, he reads the betas. He reads them pre-publication.
Wait, how do you
And it's
feel
like
about that?
he has 3 kids. The man knows what's up. Oh, like, my mom says that all the time. She's like, "I don't know why people get so shy about sex in books. We have 2 kids. Everybody like, we're adults." I'm like, "You're right, mom. You're right." My mom won't read anything unless I've read it and I hand it to her to read. And I read, like, exclusively romance novels. So she's read, like, 7 of the Ice Planet Barbarian books. I gave her Heartstopper, which is not sexy, but is like,
But
gay
it's
teenage
sweet.
romance. I think she hasn't read it yet, but I think she's gonna just, like, melt at those books because she's just such a lover of, like, kids and she loved being a mom. I think she's just gonna melt at, Heartstopper books, but, I give her everything I read, and she won't read it unless I've already read it, so she ends up reading a lot of the stuff, and she reads my own books too. She beta reads my books for me too
I love that.
because she just is extremely supportive and, is probably my number 1 fan, but yeah, it's funny because her and then my father-in-law probably are 2 of my biggest fans, and people are
I
like
love that.
So
I'm like, if he wants to skip the sexy scenes, he can, like, they're not, like, pivotal to the plot of the book, you know what I mean? Like, you could just skip over them if you didn't want to read them. I have no idea if he does or not, but, like, they've got 3
He
kids.
does.
They've got 3 kids, so
yeah.
that's all I'm saying is they're not stupid. They're not so it's like it's just not weird. I don't know. I'm just a very open person. Like nothing is weird to me. Like his mom reads, she's kind of the kind of person who reads 1 book a month, and it's always like Oprah Winfrey's book of
Yeah.
the month or like Reese's book club book of the month. Like she is the person who reads The Crawdad Sings, like whatever that book is, every single month. And then she'll come to visit me, and I'll be reading on my Kindle, and she'll be like, "What are you reading?" And I have to tell her it's a fucking alien sponsor, like spider romance, like. Because like I'm not a liar, so if you ask me what I'm gonna read, I'm reading Tourist Season, by Bryn Weaver right now, and they're both serial killers. The main characters are, and so we were over there over the weekend. I was like, if she asked me what I'm reading, I'm like, she kind of doesn't anymore, probably because I kept telling her. And it's been 10 years, so she kind of knows what's up. But she didn't ask me this time. But I was like, damn, if his mom asked me what I'm reading, I'm gonna have to tell him it's a serial killer romance where both of them are serial killers.
Oh my gosh. I love it. I love the openness. It's great.
And like I said, don't ask me a stupid question because you're gonna get a stupid answer. You're gonna tell you.
I love it. Well, we look forward to reading whatever your
Mm.
future books hold, whether it's a sports romance or it's bathhouses monster smut, you know?
My tiny author heart.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Emily, and have a great rest of your night. To you.
You too. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thank you for having me. I had a blast.